Hi, Michelle here. Welcome to my backyard. I thought I would take this time, since it's so beautiful out today, to repot a few plants that have been needing some attention. And I thought that you might like to join me in that. So welcome. The first plant I want to go ahead and pot up is this silver sword. It doesn't have a hole, so I'm going to give it one today, and I'm going to take it out of this grower's potting soil. So it's got two plants. It's got baby one and a mother plant. So I'm just going to get this out here. Looks like it's got some mold on it right here. It's got some little fuzzy mold. So we're just going to get rid of that when we do our plant. It doesn't really have very many roots, I must say. These are our roots, and this is the pot I'm going to put it in. It's got quite a bit of room to grow, but I am adding a coco coir pole, so it will take up space. So the first thing I'm going to do is get out my soil. Oops! And it seems like I have no soil. So we will take a break to make some soil. So how I do that is Fox Farms Ocean Forest. I'm going to make a big batch of this. Then perlite, quite a bit of perlite. Let's see how that works. To go ahead and talk a little bit about where my plant journey has taken me. I grew up around outdoor plants. I grew up on a farm, and my grandmother and my mother both raised irises. They both had huge outdoor gardens with irises. My grandmother had over 100 varieties. To interrupt my story, the last thing I'm going to add is bark. We would go out every March and we would start with weeding the beds, and that was a huge amount of work because you had to do it on your hands and knees. And we're talking gardens that were maybe 60 feet long by 30 feet long, so they were big gardens. And it would take generally a couple of weeks to go ahead and weed, and then you would repot the irises and then they would grow. My grandmother also collected African violets. In the 70s and early 80s, she had an enormous handmade, made by my grandfather, shelf where she housed different types of African violets. So I definitely had the plant bug since I was little. I started plants personally in 2018. I was given an orchid and a lucky bamboo from my husband. I learned how to take care of that. In 2019, I decided to expand to regular house plants. I think this is done. I think this is a nice mix full of bark and perlite, and this should be very nice. Sorry about that. My camera overheated. So I wanted to show you, this is the mix that I made. It's got quite a bit of bark, perlite, and Fox Farms Ocean Forest soil. I'm going to go ahead and sit this down. I'm going to show you what I did while my camera was cooling off. I got this done. I put it on a coco coir pole. Sorry, you can't see the top. It goes all the way up to here. I potted it in this pot. It was actually the cover pot it was in. So that's that pot. I even did a little stick right here for the secondary pup. Next, what we're going to go on is my jade cuttings. I had a plant of this. It got root rot, and so now I'm going to go ahead and repot it up. It's been rooted, so I'm just going to pot that up in this pot right here. I am going to need my soil mix again. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, and I was exposed to all sorts of plants. I had more outdoor plants than indoor plants. My mother, to this day, is an outdoor gardener, but she does not do indoor plants. It's kind of interesting how we're the opposites because I don't really do outdoor plants. I do indoor plants. And these are going to have to be filled up a little further. They're giving me fits. And this one, as you can see, has some new growth on it. This one's got some new growth on it as well. So I'm just going to kind of hold these in place while I get more soil. This potting bench makes it really nice because I'm not getting dirt all over, because as you can see, this is a very messy potting situation I have on my hands here. These are very heavy cuttings. They need to go down deep in the soil. Alright, looks like it's turning into a pot of jade. My very good friend gave me this jade. She gave me a cutting, and I'm happy to say how much it's grown. Every time I see this plant, it makes me think of her. So that's always a nice thing to do when you give plants to your friends, because they will see you when they see the plant. I'm just kind of patting this down, making sure I have enough soil in surrounding all the cuttings. This is my next pot. This is a pot of jade cuttings. On to our next cutting. What I'm going to do is I have these cuttings that have been rooted, and there's a new leaf in there. I don't know if I'm going to get or not. There we go. So I have these cuttings. They've all rooted, and they even have new shoots. So I'm just going to pot them up in this pot. I'm going to pot them up in soil. This one didn't root. I'm just going to gently see if I can break these apart. And I got this one out. This one's got a nice root. And this one doesn't have any roots, so we're going to set that one to the side. So here we go. We got this one growing new leaves all the way from the base. We got this one, which is growing a new shoot right there. We've got this very nice cutting. We got this one that's got a new leaf. We have this one that hasn't rooted at all. We'll set that to the side. We have this one, which started as just a wet stick, and as you can see, it's got a new leaf. And finally, we have this cutting. Now we got the scindapsus cuttings potted up. And they look pretty good, I think. I want to show you. These are the 3 cuttings that didn't have any roots. So I'm going to put them back in the pot and see how they do. The next cutting I have is my Hoya species Bahoi. This has been rooting in water since I got it. I'm just taking a look at it now. It's got a new growth right there. And it's got a new growth with 2 baby leaves right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pot this in a 4-inch self-watering pot in pond. So a little different than the other ones. So here's my vessels. Here's my net pot. First thing I need to do is cut a wick. This is the cotton wick I cut. And then what I do is I go in and I push the cotton. There we go. Now I'm going to get out my pond. I'm going to fill up the cup. I'm going to fill it up pretty full. This really doesn't have any stem, as you can see. This has no stem, but it has roots. So I'm going to just put it down in here like this, and then I'm just going to pour the pond gently around the stem. I'm not going to fill it up too full because I don't want to get that new cutting damaged, although it grew in water. So this is pretty floppy, as you can see. So I'm going to put a strawberry fork in it to keep it down. And what I did is I put the strawberry fork on one leaf rather than in the middle because there's growth points in the middle. This is my wobbly species Bahoi. I finished the other pot and I was going to repot this. This is my clemensiorum. It's been in bark ever since I got it, and it hasn't been growing too well. It grew this leaf, but it was really cupped, and now it's really dehydrated. And I wanted to see why, and I took a look at roots, and I soaked this for about an hour. And as you can see, number one, there's stringy roots. But most importantly, I found that at the base of this, it's moss. It was in husk, but it had moss stuffed in the base. And the other thing I found, root mealies. So all the roots got to go. I've already sterilized these, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I just cut all the roots off the stem. I know it's painful, but that's what you got to do. so that way there's nothing for the root mealies to attach to. Now there's a bare stem, and I'm going to get my rubbing alcohol and I'm going to spray the stem just to kill any root mealies that may still happen to be there. And I'm still going to put it in pond in a self-watering pot. Here's my pond cup I'm going to use. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spray just to be sure. Sometimes I can't remember when I reuse cups if I clean them or not. Just to be on the safe side, I clean that one. Put the pond down in. We'll probably have to put a strawberry fork on this plant as well. See, and we'll just poke it right in there. This is very top heavy. Now that's a little too much pond because the petiole of the stem is buried under the pond. That works. Now I'm going to put it in its pot. And see, it needs a trellis. Here's the trellis. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it down in the pot. Get it fully in there. Then get a clip. Okay, we're all done. I wanted to show you what I accomplished today. Sorry for some interruption. The sun's shining pretty hard down here today, so my camera kept shutting off due to overheating. So I'll show you what I finished right here. These are the plants that I repotted today. Hi, I just wanted to go ahead and say a final thank you for watching my video today. It was definitely a learning experience. I learned what to do with the camera. I learned that Las Vegas sun is very hot and will overheat your camera in a flash. But I also potted up some plants today, and I hope that you had fun potting up the plants with me. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.